In terms of Chara, Vitas, and Marko, how are they? And would they be available Sunday?
Yeah, we don't know. We still got 2 days of training, so it depends on the next 2 days. They're getting closer. Chara looks a little bit further along than Vitas. So we'll see really tomorrow. But it's looking doubtful that we'll have anybody back. But I would say if anybody's back, most likely it's Chara. Vitas is looking highly unlikely that he'll be back, and Marko's out a couple weeks with an ankle sprain, so he won't be available for the match.
Given that, are you guys planning on calling up some players from T2? Because I think that is going to put you below the number.
Yeah, I guess they call it the extreme hardship rule. So we're in that range now, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. At least we get to pull up a few guys. Obviously not counting on those guys to help us in the game, other than maybe an injury sub or off the bench sparingly minutes. But we only have 2 players for the bench. That's assuming those guys are out that I talked about. So if that's the case, we'll be calling 2 guys up to make our bench at 4 field players, so that we at least have the maximum 3 subs plus 1 for the match. So it's as thin as we've ever been, obviously, and I thought last game was thin, but this is even more thin with the red cards and losing chance. But we got to find a way, find a way to win. We got to find a way to get points, and it's not going to be easy. Obviously, this is a real test for this team and this club and this season. We gotta step up and get the job done somehow, and I'm confident we can, because I've seen it time and again. When our backs are against the wall and we have adversity, this group seems to rise to the challenge, and that it helps when you have a good locker room, because I've seen one of 2 things happen in this situation. Either you get the best, out of guys and the group, or you get the worst. And with a good locker room and a good team and a good culture with the way we've built it, I'm confident we're going to get the best. And guys are going to step up even more and find a way to grind out some points here on the road, but it certainly won't be easy.
Are there any players that you're looking at that might have to play out of position based on just thinking about what your fullback, center back, and defensive mid situation looks like?
I don't know. I mean, obviously depends on what you mean out of position is, because we have guys that are versatile. Obviously in the last game we had, Jarryd was out of position, in my opinion, and playing a left back, but that's all we had. We were to the to the third guy, and then Roy Miller, even though he's a center back, he was played out of position to left back because we had no subs at outside back or holding mid, and Blanco was kind of playing an 8. So so we have a little bit of that happening right now, because we just are through the second, third, in some cases fourth in the depth chart in some positions. So like I said, if we don't pull guys up, we have basically 12 players with Chara, so it'd be 11 field players if Chara's out. So we're planning to pull 2 guys up regardless, which will give us at least 3 subs no matter what happens with Chara.
You had mentioned that Chance might have a broken ankle. What did you guys determine?
Yeah, actually, that was an old injury. So he doesn't have a broken ankle. That was an old injury on the X-ray. But he is out, I think I was told 6 to 7 weeks, with a couple. He has 3 kind of injuries in the foot. Ligament tear is one of them, and a few other injuries that occurred on that play. So it's not a broken ankle, but he's still going to be out 6 to 7 weeks at least. And the most significant one is a tear in one of the tendons in his foot.
When you look at this weekend, you're obviously you're looking to get a response from the group despite the absences. How do you prepare going on the road, knowing you need a result, you need a response, despite the adversity?
Yeah, well, again, I think it has to start with the recovery. First and foremost, it's a tight window, and we're going to be playing the majority of the same guys because we have no other options but to play the same guys, and we're going to have to play a few different guys because we've lost 3 players, 2 with the red and Chance with the injury. You know, so we get it even thinner than we did, even deeper in the depth chart. So number 1 is mental and physical recovery. So you can't do much on the pitch in this type of window. We'll do a little bit more tomorrow, but mostly what we'll do is recover guys in our team meetings. We had a long one today, talking about what needs to happen in the next game. Some of that is looking at the last game and figuring out why we didn't execute. In that first half, we didn't defend like we've been defending. Our shape wasn't good on the ball, our possession, our speed of play, our ability to connect and create chances wasn't good. The second half's completely irrelevant, although we can learn from some of the mistakes we made in that half. We got too emotional, obviously, on the red and put ourselves in a really tough position. But moving to the next game, it's more about that first half, and I think it was a bit surprising, why we weren't as organized as we have been. And I think a lot of it is, we gave up the early goal, and then you start scrambling and trying to make up for it, and we just lost our shape, we lost our way, and certainly it had something to do with the moving parts that we had in. Had a few guys in that hadn't been in, and that does change always. It changes the chemistry, and in some cases we're to the 3rd or the 4th or even the 5th guy in the depth chart, and that means the connections that have been built aren't the same. That also means the consistency in those players playing game in and game out isn't always there, and we saw quite a bit of that in the first half. So now 3 days later, can we make a positive change in terms of just making sure we're back to basics and being organized and tougher to play through, and I'm confident that we will be, even with a few more guys, new guys in the lineup.